A self-driving car is approaching an intersection. The light is green. The car is traveling at the speed limit. In the crosswalk ahead, a pedestrian steps off the curb against the signal, looking at their phone, oblivious. The car's sensors register the pedestrian. The car's processor runs the calculation. The car has two options. Option 1, brake hard. The pedestrian will be struck at reduced speed. The pedestrian will probably survive. The passenger in the back seat, who paid for this car, who trusted this car, who is not doing anything wrong, will be thrown forward. The passenger will not survive. Option 2, swerve into oncoming traffic. The pedestrian lives, the passenger lives, the driver of the other vehicle, an innocent person going about their day, will be struck head-on. That person will die. The car has 11 milliseconds to choose. The car does not hesitate. The car does not pray. The car consults its programming. What should the programming say? This is not a hypothetical. Well, this exact moment, this specific geometry of choices is unlikely, but the class of decisions it represents is not. Self-driving cars are on roads right now, in Phoenix, in San Francisco, in Singapore. They're making decisions about speed, lane position, following distance, evasive action. They have not yet faced this specific trolley problem moment in the real world. They will. And when they do, the decision will already have been made, not by the car, not by the passenger, not by the pedestrian, but by someone who wrote a rule months or years earlier in a conference room, probably after lunch. Who writes the rule? What does the rule say? And who gets to decide? The trolley problem is the most famous thought experiment in ethics. A runaway trolley is heading toward 5 people tied to the track. You can pull a lever to divert it onto a side track where 1 person is tied. Most people say, pull the lever. Save 5, sacrifice 1. The math is clear. Now the variant. You are on a bridge above the track. The only way to stop the trolley is to push a large man off the bridge. His body will derail the trolley. He will die. 5 will live. Do you push him? Most people say no, even though the math is identical. 1 life for 5. The difference, psychologists have found, is something about direct physical contact. Something about using a person as a means rather than losing them as a side effect. Something about the visceral horror of pushing. Our moral intuitions are not calculators. They are stories we tell ourselves about what kind of person we are. A self-driving car is a calculator. The car does not feel the visceral horror of pushing. The car does not distinguish between pulling a lever and touching a body. The car does not have intuitions. It has a utility function, a mathematical expression of what it is supposed to optimize, minimize expected casualties, maximize expected lives saved. The function is simple. The world is not. Consider, what if the pedestrian is a child and the passenger is 90 years old? Does the car's math account for life years remaining? Does it value a 7-year-old's future differently from a retiree's? Who decides the exchange rate? What if the pedestrian is unhoused and the passenger is a surgeon? Does the car calculate social utility? Does it weigh a life by economic contribution? Your answer to this question reveals what you believe a person is worth, and whether that worth can be reduced to a number. What if the pedestrian is the owner of the car, the person who bought it, who trusted it, who is now on the wrong side of the windshield? Does the car protect its owner at the expense of strangers? If it does, you have built a system that values customers over human beings. If it doesn't, you have built a product that might kill the person who bought it. Who will buy that product? The most common objection to this entire line of thinking is that the scenario is vanishingly rare. Self-driving cars will prevent vastly more deaths than they cause. 35,000 people die on American roads every year, almost all from human error, distraction, drunk driving, falling asleep. The machine will not get distracted. The machine will not drink. The machine will not fall asleep. The transition to autonomous vehicles will save hundreds of thousands of lives. This is true. It is also not the point. The point is that someone must decide what the machine does in the rare case. That decision, made in a conference room, written into code, deployed across millions of vehicles, is a moral decision. It cannot be avoided by saying, the car will make the right choice. The car has no concept of right. The car has a rule. The rule was written by a person. The person made a choice. And the edge case, the 1 in a million scenario, is where the choice becomes visible. You cannot hide behind statistics in the edge case. You cannot say, the system works 99.999% of the time. The edge case asks, when the system fails, who does it sacrifice? The answer to that question is the system's moral signature. In 2016, researchers at MIT launched the Moral Machine Experiment, a website that presented users with variations of the self-driving car dilemma. Over 2 million people in 200 countries made 40 million decisions. The results revealed patterns. People generally preferred to save more lives over fewer, humans over animals, the young over the old. But the patterns also revealed deep cultural variation. Respondents in individualist cultures were more likely to spare the lawful. Respondents in collectivist cultures were more likely to spare the law. Respondents in collectivist cultures were more likely to spare the old. There was no universal moral code embedded in human intuition. There was only variation. This means that whoever writes the rule is not just making a technical decision. They are imposing a moral framework, one that will be embedded in every vehicle, applied uniformly to every crash, with no input from the people whose lives it will determine. There is no democratic process for this. There is no vote. There is a product manager, an engineering team, and a deadline. So where does this leave us? The self-driving car does not end the trolley problem. It transforms it from a thought experiment into a product specification. Every possible rule is objectionable. Kill the pedestrian to protect the passenger. You value customers over people. Kill the passenger to protect the pedestrian. You build a product that sacrifices its owner. Randomize. You abdicate responsibility to a dice roll, which is itself a moral choice. Program the car to follow the law absolutely. The law was not written for 11-millisecond decisions involving multiple lives. There is no right answer. There is only the answer that someone chooses and the process by which they choose it. The question is not whether self-driving cars should exist. They will exist. The question is whether the people whose lives they govern have any say in how they behave. Right now, the answer is no. And that, more than any specific dilemma about pedestrians and passengers, is what should trouble you, not the trolley, not the lever, not the math. The silence, the absence of a conversation, the fact that the most important moral decision of the 21st century is being made by people who think they're just writing code. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate this kind of content, please leave a comment below. See you in the next one.